Welcome back to Bay Sunday. Remember Valley of the Dolls? Pretty steamy. Well, now there's Valley of the Gods. Critics call it a funny, anthropological deep dive into the strange inner workings of the Bay Area tech world. And with us here to tell us more today is author Alexandra Wolfe. Welcome to Bay Sunday.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about this new book that was just released.
Well, that was such a great introduction, and it reminds me of one of these chapters I have called The Gluten-Free Open Marriage.
Right.
And that's definitely not what I expected to find when I came to Silicon Valley, but the different lifestyles here and the ways of behavior were so fascinating to me. So.
What did you find?
Oh gosh, I followed these three kids who were part of the Thiel Fellowship. I don't know, it's this entrepreneur and investor, Peter Thiel,
He's
started.
been in the news a lot.
Yes,
yeah.
He's been in the news for other reasons, and he started this program where he convinced 20 kids under 20 to drop out of college, and they would get $100,000 if they won the fellowship. So I sort of looked through three of their eyes and wrote this book sort of thematically about the culture here. So it's very subjective in terms of their experience. They were definitely not the unicorns. They were sort of those hoping to become unicorns, which was way harder than I think anybody thought.
Sure, and people are fascinated about the tech world, especially Silicon Valley, and some of the young entrepreneurs who have come up. So when you followed these kids, I'm calling them kids because they're 20-something.
Yeah, I know. I keep calling them kids. And
what fascinated you about that? What did you learn about them?
I think it was mostly their ideas that were so outlandish. I mean, I grew up in New York, and one of the guys in the book is this guy, John Burnham, and he came to the fellowship with the idea of mining asteroids. And out here, people didn't look at him like he was crazy.
Right.
He sort of had these glittering eyes, and he was so charismatic about it. And a lot of people got behind him. He ended up going back to religious school, and now he's at Dartmouth. But so it didn't work out that way. But another one, this woman, Laura Deming, was she has this longevity fund, and so she wanted to cure aging and sort of end all those problems.
Right.
And if you said this in New York, or at least where I went to high school, they'd call your parents and wonder what was wrong.
Yeah.
So it was just those kinds of ideas that were so different than anything I'd ever heard of before.
Well, if someone looked at Elon Musk one day when he was 20 and he started talking about driverless cars, then people would think that he'd be crazy as well, right?
Exactly. And now he's sort of the model for Tony Stark. I mean, that was also really interesting. I went on this cruise. Have you heard of Summit Series? This whole group, it's sort of they build themselves as the Davos of the World Economic Forum of the younger generation. And I went on this cruise. They had all these tech founders and aspiring tech founders on it, and it was really amazing to see how this was sort of becoming an entrepreneur was sort of the new director, the new movie star. Right. And they followed Peter Thiel around like the Pied Piper. I remember I went in the elevator with him at one point to go up to another deck, and there was this artist there named Peter Tunney. And I was so excited because I'd just seen him on The Real Housewives of New York. And I said, oh my gosh, you were on The Real Housewives. And he didn't look very happy to hear that. And the next morning he points to me and he goes, that's the girl. She's the one who ruined my chance with Peter Thiel. And so it was literally, I had gotten in the way of an elevator pitch. And so it was so funny to see these hordes of people just trying to become like the stars out here. He
was probably disappointed that you were watching TV instead of creating something fascinating.
That's probably true.
How much of the tech world that people stereotype about it is true versus false based on the culture that you followed and what you kind of looked into?
Well, I actually thought a lot of it was true. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that show Silicon Valley on HBO, but it's quite accurate,
really?
At least from what I saw. And then
so the parties are outrageous.
Oh, well, maybe that's probably exaggerated. I mean, it was everything closed around 10 o'clock in Palo Alto, but there's definitely a lot of fun to be had.
Right.
But yeah, I think a lot of the stereotypes are probably pretty accurate.
Well, Alexandra Wolfe, the book is called Valley of the Gods. Congratulations on your first book. Thank you for joining us here this morning.
Thank you so much.
Valley of the Gods in stores now. We'll be back with award-winning choreographer and artistic director Gregory Dawson when Bay Sunday returns in just a moment.